Hey guys, welcome back to Tiff Talks 22. So, I am kind of excited to do this particular episode for you guys today because we are going to be talking about somebody who has just, got the sisters up in arms, honey. And I say sisters, I mean that, black women all over. And I will be honest for sure. I have come across some mixed opinions, so I'm so grateful for that. So I won't say all of them, thank God. But this young man, Christian-Toby-Obumseli, was murdered by his girlfriend, who I don't even remember her name at this time, and I didn't even take the time to write it down, y'all. Let me find her, see if I can find her name real quick. Her name, child, I don't know. Oh, okay. Her name is Courtney Clenny. Okay. So, Courtney, and she's a white girl, and she was dating this young man, Toby Obumseli. I hope I'm saying his last name right. First name is Christian Toby, but I think he went by Toby. And so they were in what is being revealed now as a kind of toxic connection, a volatile connection, right? And I guess they got into it. They had some type of disagreement, and she ended up stabbing him in his shoulder, but she must have hit an artery or something. Or took a long time to get him help. I don't know the ins and outs of the case, which no one really does at this point other than the police and her. But he ended up dying from his wound, okay? And so what I have seen personally on social media is just an outpour that is heartbreaking. It's been heartbreaking for me, anyway, for sure, because it is, and I understand, guys, everybody won't agree, so some tweets have resurfaced, right, from this young man that he put out, I want to say, in 2012, so it's been like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. Some old tweets of his resurfaced. Some of them 2015. I'm looking at them now. But his family is calling for justice. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about the tweets. His family is calling for justice. They feel like because of who this lady is, being a white lady, kind of affluent. I think she has a little bit of money because she is an OnlyFans. I think people call them models. I don't know what it is that they do, but it's what she does, okay? And so she had a little money. He was killed in an upscale, wherever they live in Florida. It's like an upscale place. Anyway, so all of that is relevant, but I didn't just really get the details because that ain't really what I'm here to talk about. What I am here to talk about is grace, because this man, and these tweets that resurfaced from years and years ago, said a lot of ignorant things. And it's so weird to me because people are so angry. He just really made several generalizing statements. If you are listening around children, ears, okay? But he says, let me give you an example. One of them says, black girls are born knowing how to shake their ass. Then he said, one of his followers said that black girls are born knowing how to shake their ass. And his reply was, honestly, I don't care because they not my type. Right? And then on this other tweet, he said he can't believe that one of his followers thinks that he talks to black girls when he doesn't. Yes, it's weird because it's coming from a black guy, right? He also made a tweet saying that white boobies, because I don't like the word he used, were better than black boobies. Just saying, ha. Just really ignorant, childish tweets. He mentioned a class that he was in at some point. This was in 2012 also, a government class, and it was full of ignorant black women. He made a tweet that said, "Why is there always one ghetto black boy in the back talking throughout the class? Like, get out or chill." He also said, "The way black girls disgrace themselves on TV, ... He also said, "Once again, I'm tired of these black girls in my government class." He, in 2011, even younger, he said he wanted a white girl. Okay. And then 2013, he can teach a white girl a little about the African culture. 2012, he loved when white girls wear yoga tights. He really, guys, he says white girls wearing white booty shorts everywhere. Now that's what I like. One of his followers commented that they loved white people, and he said, "Me too, girl." Right? So, one, he was really young. It's funny to me just reading these, right? But it was not funny to the black community when his white girlfriend is the one that ended up taking his life ultimately, right? And so his family is saying that because of who she is, because of her affluence, because of her skin color, let's be honest, white privilege, that she is still walking free, that she also, I don't know if she expressed a desire to kill herself, something that they allowed her to be sent to a mental health facility for an assessment under something called the Baker Act. And so I feel like she was released like just a day later or so. It's supposed to be like a 24 to 72 hour hold or something like that for psychiatric evaluation. Anyway, so they ended up releasing her, and she's just walking free. I have heard, though, that her freedom has not been without challenge, because there was some bar that she was in, but somebody confronted her, and she was uncomfortable and had to leave. And I'm not saying if that's good or bad. I mean, it's just what is. It's just what is. But the things that really brought this to my attention, because I'm seeing that, okay, the headline on these posts say that this young man was killed by his white girlfriend, who is not being held accountable for his murder, right? So why am I looking and it's all of these ha-has, all of the laughing emoji reactions to the story headline? And I was like, okay, what am I not seeing? So I go and read the story, and I'm like, oh, okay. So he had a preference. He, some say he dehumanized black women, but I didn't see all that. I just saw it as somebody who had a preference for white women. He made some general statements about black women, but these were black women that he was in contact with in his class. And no, I'm not making excuses for this man. This was based on his experience, what he was seeing, his perspective, right? But also, let's be honest, it's a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old 13 years past perspective. Okay, so we don't know, I don't know anyway, how this man felt, because I feel like they kind of put his account on lock. I couldn't find it for this particular thing. I had looked at it previously because I wanted to see these tweets where he was dehumanizing women, right? Someone said that he fetishizes white women, and that could definitely be true. Some of the things that he said in those tweets. And so, of course, because of that, and he centered himself around white circles, of course, because of that, I don't get me wrong, the irony that he was killed at the hand of a white person that he idolized so much, it is irony, to say the least, but because he had ignorant views, or because he had a preference that he boldly expressed that was different from popular opinion, I would never sit here and say, oh, that's what he get. or, oh, I can't pray for his family, or ain't nothing I can do for this situation, simply because of how he felt about certain black women that he had come in contact with, right? So I feel like that's the part that was really breaking my heart about this situation, was that people decided that, okay, because of these beliefs, then, oh well, he got what he deserved. And it's really heartbreaking. And so I really thought of, because it's like, this is not my fight. Black women, we'll sit this one out. He don't like y'all no way. Like, what the freak? This man, well, first of all, he was a child, because his brother did let it later on be known that this was high school tweets, and he separated himself from that, his family from that ideology, and that he thought they were reprehensible, but also that this boy was in high school. He was a child. I'm sure we could go back on a lot of people's stuff and be like, oh, that was dumb. Because trust me, I go through my memories every day on social media, and I come across something where I'm like, oh, baby, no, that is not who I am no more. Or I'll be like, oh, that's stupid, and I delete it, no joke. I do that every day. It's at least one where I'm like, oh my goodness, did I say that? Well, it's nothing bad or disparaging, but it's just not who I am anymore. Because, my thoughts, my beliefs, my behaviors have changed. There's a lot of stuff that I used to do that I don't do anymore. Anyway, so I'm so grateful for God's grace, which is what I'm about to talk about today. And it made me think of this Martin Luther King quote, because they're like, okay, well, we don't have nothing to do with this case. But the quote says, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. So whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. That said, if this young lady gets away with murder, then imagine the domino effect that it could have. And Lord knows our justice system is flawed as heck as it is, right? So for you to say, oh, this ain't my fight, and you publicly making this statement, and you laughing at this man like this is what he deserved, you don't deserve to lose your life unjustly for saying stupid stuff, for having a bias, a preference, really. Because the way I looked at his tweets is like, okay, so he like white girls. Okay, because there's some black people who only like to date black people, who think that black people's bodies are better than white people's bodies. So, he just happened to say it out loud. So everybody is in this nasty energy of, ha, that's what he gets. And that is the part I feel that is appalling. Okay. So the next day, when I got ready to do I say the next day, I don't know if it was the exact next day, but after I had seen this story and it came to my attention, and this was truly disturbing me, because every little article that I ran across that had been being commented on social media was full of these types of comments. And so I'm literally scrolling through to see if anybody else besides me sees a problem with it. And me, I guess I did let it be known that I have a problem with it, but I'm just me. And so, I did find some, but it was hard to find. It is like, boy, what a restoration of faith in humanity to see that somebody else sees how this is not okay. All right. And so the next day, the card that we got as the collective was the law of grace for the daily unicorn message. And if you don't know or you don't follow that part of me, the daily unicorn message, I like it. Unicorns, for this author in particular of this particular deck, 2 angels. So it's like a daily angel message. So the card was the law of grace. It says, be your divine essence. Dissolve all in grace. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about that energy of grace. And so I wrote this out because I didn't want to be all over the place or scattered. I'm already out of order because I had to go on and tell Toby's story real quick. But I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this. There is definitely a spiritual essence in all of us, okay? We are, at the core of our beings, spiritual creatures, right? We are our soul essence, which is our heart. So whether you believe that or not, or you operate from that space of divinity consistently or not, there is a spiritual essence in all of us, okay? So grace is something that is going to encourage us to be there for our fellow man, to support our fellow man, to serve humanity, and to love and forgive from a place of divinity, right? The word namaste means I bow to the divinity in you. Sometimes I have to say that to people. I guess I don't have to, but I choose to say that to people to keep from like snapping or going off on them. Because it's like, you know what? That was so dumb. I really could cut you out right now. But no. I'm going to look at you from a different perspective. So sometimes I say namaste. And yeah, I might be misusing that. But that is the literal translation. I bow to the divinity in you. But I'm telling you how it helps me to pull me back to my soul essence, right? So anyway, grace is what allows you also to forgive people who have hurt you, who have mistreated you. And it allows them to do the same for you when you have messed up, hurt, or mistreated them, right? Because there is nobody perfect in this world. So trust me, please don't act like you ain't never done or said nothing stupid, okay? But it is not only something that occurs as a result of someone messing up. So I do want to be clear about that. Also, a characteristic of grace is that it's free. Grace is something that is freely given. And so there is nothing that we can do or that we do that says we deserve grace, right? Grace is extended to us every day by God's source, the divine, however it is that you connect. God extends his grace to us every day. That was a gratitude breath right there, y'all. That was a gratitude breath. And something else about a human example of something that I thought of as I was writing this out is Botham John. You know, he is the young man. I think that happened in Dallas, y'all. My memory be bad, especially when it comes to new stuff. I just saw 1717 on the clock. Take that as it resonates. Good number. Let me write that down. But Botham John was murdered in Dallas in his apartment when a white cop, Amber, came home from a shift, and she came home to the wrong apartment. This young man in his allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, y'all, because boy. Anyway, she came home to the wrong apartment. He was in his apartment, in his drawers, no less, walking around his house. She smelled weed. The door was cracked. She ended up shooting and killing this man, okay? So let me tell you about grace. Grace and forgiveness are just kind of hand in hand. I remember at her trial, I believe this was after she was found guilty, and the family was allowed to speak to the killer. Her name is Amber. I don't even remember her last name. But the mother, his mom, told her, you know, and I got goosies. I got goosies while I was writing it. I'm getting them right now. Told her that she forgave her. You know, as a Christian, she forgave her. And I thought about that as I was writing this. What an amazing example of grace. Grace don't mean that you ought to get off for killing my son. Grace just means that I accept what happens to you, and I'm choosing to pray for healing, and that this situation works out for the highest good of all. That don't mean you ought to get out free. You get out of jail free card. That just means, you know, I accept this as God's will, and it is what it is, right? I thought that just made her an incredible human being, because in that situation like that, like I said, imperfect, I don't know that I would be able to tap into it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, John, sorry. Also, the next thing that I wrote was that grace is something that when you experience it, you want to share it. It is something that is going to create a ripple effect of kindness, right? So it's like when someone extends that to you, then it inspires you, encourages you, enables you to want to do the same for someone else. So we talked a little bit about Toby, and some of the replies that I got was like when I voiced on social media about, you know, you don't have to revel in his demise or be excited about it to not be supportive. I mean, and people were like, oh, well, you could just get out there and march and do all this for him then. And I ain't even saying you got to do that, because sometimes you can just send spiritual support and show grace through prayer. You know, just praying for miracles, praying for justice, praying for the highest good to be the outcome is extending grace, is spiritual support. Okay. Like I said, nobody is perfect. Everybody on the earth is living a learning experience. And that's what this is, simple, plain and simple for all of us. So definitely, if you have acted imperfectly, forgive yourself. But also that same thing that you would want for you, be open to extending to other people. This is just some extra that I ran across that I was like, oh, that's worth sharing. When you walk around in that energy where you are unforgiving of yourself, you definitely are going to be that way toward other people. And then also when you walk around in that energy where you're unforgiving of yourself, it is highly likely that you continue to attract punishment. Why? Because you believe that you deserve that. Because you haven't forgiven yourself for this error in judgment, this mistake you made, this something else. I felt like somebody needed to hear that, because at the end of the day, I feel like grace is forgiveness, grace is acceptance, grace is love of self and other people. So definitely start with self-forgiveness, but also choose to live your life from that space of divinity towards everyone. So just like your angels, your spirit guides, God, source, the divine, the universe, sees the divinity in you, namaste, and wants the best for you. It is wonderful and it is best to choose that perspective for others as well. So this is definitely not just about Toby. This is about you. This is about your friendship. This is about your family. This is about your neighbors, your acquaintances, everybody that you come into contact with, every human in every public space, alive, everywhere. Okay. So definitely grace is a catalyst that can transform connections. And it's through divine love. It's through godly love. And practicing that exchange of acceptance also helps to erase karma. Grace is the prayer, like I said, that is asking for the highest good on behalf of everybody involved. So when you are not operating or living your life from that space, be aware of the karma that you create when you choose not to. Okay. So instead of taunting, teasing, mocking people, or just hardening your heart, turning your back, when there was something you could do, which was as simple as saying a prayer that the highest good result, is creating karma for you. So definitely be aware and open to keeping your heart open. I feel like this is a divine extension. It's a divine extension because it's something that is afforded to us. Grace is afforded to us, like I said, on a daily basis. And this is going to be from your soul essence, your heart, your soul, who you are on a spiritual level. Okay, so the affirmation that goes with this, that came with that card, is I accept grace and I offer it to others. It really, and I'm going to end this podcast here, but it really just broke my heart, guys, to see how many people were okay with saying, ha ha, oh well, this is not my fight. Are you kidding me? I've seen people, because I do quite a few missing cases and I look at quite a few of them, etc. I've seen people who make statements like, "Oh, she would do the same for you if if your loved one was missing," and it's like you can wonder, "Oh, would she? Had she?" Because I had never heard her trying to help people find their lost loved ones or whatever. So here she is missing. Should I help her or should I not? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you could take that approach, or you could just say, you know what? I'm going to share this information so people can be aware of the case and look out for this particular person, right? That is operating from a space of grace. But when you are in a position where you're making fun of someone and you like, this turned out how it was supposed to, like, no, that's a hardening of the heart. And then when that same energy is turned and reflected onto you, you're going to be looking pretty crazy. I just feel. Anyway, so definitely an energy of do unto others. Definitely an energy of forgiveness of others, forgiveness of yourselves, especially forgive your high school self. Because, baby, if you 40, I'm 40, what, 2, 3? Up there somewhere. If you up here like me, you know you done said and done some dumb-ish before, okay? You know you have. So, anyway, just choose not to close your heart. At least if you don't want to march in the streets and you don't want to make posts or share the story or bring attention to it, that's fine. Beware of the karma you create by the negative that you put out. But also be open to not hardening your heart and still praying that the best outcome will be made clear, right? The best result. Whatever can happen that is for the highest good will happen, okay? And I did pull a few cards on this case, actually, and not in depth because I'm like, I really don't want to get into it. God knows, and what it's going to be is going to be. But I really feel like there was some self-defense here in this particular case. So the police may know more than we, that is being made public to us about it. I don't want to assume that it is because this young lady is white, but I did see that Lee Merritt is helping the case, and he did feel like they have enough information or the evidence that they need to arrest this young lady. So we'll just see what happens as a result of it, what comes out. And at the end of the day, we're praying for grace for everyone involved and that the highest good be the result, right? All right, guys, I hope this was helpful for somebody. I hope it was what you needed to hear. And if you are one of these people, I hope it just really triggers something in you to be the change that you want to see, right? All right, guys, sending you love and light. Bye-bye.